Alright, you lot. Gather round. It's Sunday, it's chaos, and you're locked into Hey Scotty Podcast. On the show where sarcasm's a weapon, news is always dipped in fire, and Twonk's at week get immortalised in glorious stereo. Whether you're doom scrolling, or rage cleaning your flat, or just trying to survive end at modern gaming without committing controller-based war crimes, I've got you covered. From hospitals hiring gamers, to washed-up devs pushing survival sims with excitement to damp toast, to absolute state or online safety. We're turning into all of it. So grab your headphones, brace for impact, and keep your tea away from keyboard. This week's episode is packed with fire, fury, just enough sincerity to make your therapist nervous. Let's get into it. So gather round, cause this isn't sort of story that makes your stomach drop through your socks. Europol has crawled out at Shadows we're whining, and for once, it's not usual games are bad, think at children hysteria. This time, threat's real, documented, and ugly enough to make your blood freeze. According to Europol, and I'm quoting here, criminal networks are weaponizing children to commit torture and murder by recruiting them through multiplayer video games and smartphones. That's not clickbait. That's not some misread headline. That's a direct line from report. And it gets worse. Europol calls these places violent online communities where predators groom kids, isolate them, manipulate them, and push them into real-world violence. Not pretend violence, not pixel kind, actual violent crime. And they're using gaming spaces we all live in every day to do it. Now let me be absolutely clear here, because this is where lazy politician and fear-mongering dinosaur gets it wrong. Games themselves aren't problem. Violence on screen ain't catalyst. It's communication channels, voice chat, lobbies, matchmaking, unmoderated friend lists, endless stream of strangers passing through your kid's headset like ghosts and walls. This ain't about GTA melting brains. This is about predators weaponizing same systems meant to let friends squad up on a Friday night. These criminals are slipping through cracks, sliding into chats, building trust, and then turning that trust into something far darker. They're not teaching kids to play badly or swear too much. They're grooming them for real-world tasks. Europol says kids are being pushed towards violent activities including extortion and murder, and that's straight from notification. Think about psychology here. Kids log on to unwind after school. They jump into a game to escape reality, not get dragged into some psychopath's recruitment funnel. But in these digital spaces, especially ones with zero-age verification, no proper moderation, and instant anonymous contact, your child can be 2 clicks away from someone who wants to twist them into a weapon. And this isn't a fringe case. Europol's not talking about a rogue Discord mod or one creepy DM. They're talking about organised groups using gaming platforms as hunting grounds, recruitment pipes, safety havens for them, not for kids. They know parents don't understand platforms. They know governments don't regulate chats. They know kids are curious, isolated, and desperate to belong somewhere, anywhere. This ain't nostalgia panic. This ain't 90s video games cause violence all over again. This is criminals exploiting digital spaces where no one's watching. Spaces built for entertainment, twisted into access points for real harm. Games aren't enemy, predators using them are. Now you know what's happening, how it's happening, and why this ain't something we can shrug off with a meme. So let's talk about where this lands. Squarely in lap at people who can do something before it's too bloody late. Parents. You. Yeah, you. You've got a kid with a console, a PC, a tablet, a phone. This one's for you. Don't look away. Don't tell yourself, not my child. That's how they get in. Let me put this plainly. If your kid plays multiplayer games and they have chat enabled, they're reachable. Not hypothetically, not eventually, right now. They're reachable by anyone. Friends, strangers, trolls, and yeah, predators. That cute little Fortnite avatar could be some greasy-handed freak sitting in a dark room 400 miles away trying to see how fast they can get your kid to drop personal info. Or worse. You think you're safe because game says Peggy 12 or T for teen. That's just beginning. That's a content rating, not a behaviour lock. These age ratings are there for a reason. They're not suggestions, they're warnings. That last line of defence before your kid wanders into a wild zone with no rules and no reinforcements. You wouldn't drop your 8-year-old off at a nightclub full of strangers, tell them have fun and wander off to watch telly, would you? Then why in God's name are you letting them play online shooters with open voice chat and unmoderated messages? And I get it, you're busy, you work, You're tired. You need peace. That console is digital babysitter, right? But that peace you're buying could cost more than you ever thought possible. Damage being done in those lobbies ain't always visible. It don't come with bruises or broken windows. It comes with a changed kid, more secretive, more withdrawn, mood swings, guilt, obsession. Suddenly they're not sleeping, they're always online, and they're avoiding questions like your enemy. So what can you do? Start with basics. Know what they're playing. Sit with them. Watch. Ask questions. Learn names of their online friends. If they get cagey, dig. Check chat settings. Disable voice chat in games that don't need it. Set up parental controls. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Do it anyway. Because those tools exist to give you some visibility if what worst happens. Talk to your kids, not just about games, but about why predators use games. Tell them no one has right to ask for personal info, that it's not okay to get DMs from strangers, that if someone tries to guilt them, scare them, isolate them, or reward them for keeping secrets, that's not friendship, that's grooming. It's not just about catching it when it's too late, it's about building instinct before it starts. And here's big one, don't let your kid play games they're too young for. I don't care how good they are with a controller. I don't care how grown up they act. If game's rated 18 and they're 12, you're one rolling dice. It's not about gore, it's about community. Older rating, older players. And some of those players, they're not there for fun, they're there for access. Age ratings are a barrier. Use them, enforce them. Beat wall between your kids and chaos. Because here's truth. People doing this grooming, this recruitment, this digital manipulation, they're not scared of your kid. They're counting on your absence. They're betting you're too distracted, too confused by tech, too soft on screen time battles. Don't prove them right. But let's stop pretending this is just parenting problem and talk about other gaping hole in floor. British government, more specifically Online Safety Act, which is, quite frankly, a digital wet fart. A bureaucratic tantrum dressed up as protection. And guess what? It's not working. Not now, not in future, not in face of what Europol's actually warning us about. You want to protect children online? Start by understanding what they're actually doing. Start by acknowledging that gaming is its most dominant form of youth social interaction in 2025, not social media, not TV, not homework, games. Voice chat, match lobbies, instant DMs, these are highways predators are using. And OSA's grand idea? Age verification. Yeah, we've seen it. Xbox has started rolling it out. Social platforms are trialling it. YouTube and Google are fiddling with ID checks. But it's truth. Age verification will not stop determined kids. Never has. It never will. You give them a phone, access to an adult's ID, or just a passive parent tool lets them click, yeah, I'm 18, and they're through gate. Done. Now take Roblox for example. They're not just saying age check, done. They're putting kids into groups. Under 9, 9 to 12, 13 to 15, etc. Then limiting who they can talk to. That's kind of structural move we need more of. But let's be clear, it's not full solution either. Because even with buckets, you still need hardened moderation, clear tracking, parent education, developer accountability. Buckets are good, the metal plating, but you still need frame behind it. It looks like protection, but it doesn't do a damn thing if kid wants in, or parent lets them in just to get 5 minutes of peace and quiet. And this is where OSA crashes and burns, because it throws all responsibility at tech companies, while dodging single most effective tool we actually have in UK, or any country, holding parents accountable. You want real change? Do what we already do when parents pull the kids out of school for a cheap holiday. You fine them, you hold them responsible. Because when it comes to school, we've decided education is important enough to demand parental compliance. Well, guess what? Online safety deserves the same. No, it won't be perfect. No, it is. But it's a damn sight more effective than age gates and are you really 18 pop-ups. You start holding parents to account. Legally, financially, publicly, and you shift culture. Suddenly, mum and dad can't play dumb. Suddenly, handing little Alfie controller and buggering off ain't risk-free anymore. See its message, loud and clear. OSA is weak. Age verification alone is a speed bump to a determined child and a doormat parent. You want to stop kids being groomed through games? You educate parents. You hold them responsible, and you build real consequences into choices they make. You're not going to fix this by shuffling papers in Parliament. You're going to fix this by getting into homes, getting into schools, and making sure parents stop treating consoles like pacifiers and start treating them like potential threats. Because predators know systems asleep. They know OSA's toothless. And they know that as long as parents keep saying, "Not my kid," hunting grounds stay open. Close them, or this won't stop. Right, before we start lobbing Molotovs at Nexton, big shout out to Ages444, who dropped us this week's viewer landmine. I need some help looking into a game, Painkiller. It looks fun and promising from what I've seen so far, but I'm a tad bit cynical. Is it a faithful addition to the franchise, or am I diving into hell full of lies and fluffed up words? I've never played Painkiller, so I hope you can point me in the right direction. See, this is why I love this bloody channel. That right there is a man staring down a Steam page like it owes him money. That's our people. So let's dive in. And I mean proper, no lube, spine first. We're talking Painkiller 2025. So-called revival at cult classic that used to make your GPU cry tears of molten pixels back in 2004. Back then, Painkiller were a pure, arena-blasting, demon-splitting shotgun symphony of a game. Zero plot, zero mercy, just a bloke with a gun and a one-way ticket to purgatory with naught but bullets and banter to his name. Now fast forward to today, 2025 version, it's Steam, and on surface it looks like the recapturing spirit of it top guns, aggressive movement, and demons flying out of hell's arsehole like it's Black Friday sale in Doomtown. And somewhere it works. First, gunplay. Fast, aggressive, snappy. It's got that old school speedrun DNA if you squint hard enough. You've got power weapons, horde waves, and just one more level each. Reviews say it's a riot, especially in co-op. And yeah, that's kicker. This thing's built to be played with mates. Drop in with a squad and suddenly it's got that sweaty, caffeine-fueled chaos old land boys remember. Performance-wise, surprisingly solid. Graphics won't melt your eyeballs, but they'll tick modern enough box. And it's smooth. No game-breaking stutters, no glitchy shotgun arms flying into orbit, which, these days, is a bloody miracle. But here's where it face plants. It's not same Painkiller. In fact, it's barely in the same postal code. They've reimagined it, rewired it, and somewhere along the line, they snipped umbilical cord to original completely. Gone its solo-driven gothic chaos. Narrative now? Barely there. You could miss it entirely while adjusting your FOV. No atmosphere, no pacing, just straight into Horde Blender with a gun and confused expression. For classic fans, that's a slap. One reviewer said, and I quote, "Painkiller in name only." That's not feedback, that's a eulogy. Even worse, feels like it were built co-op first, single player second. If you're flying solo, it's thinner than EA's apology budget. Fewer levels, not much variation, zero character. This enter revival, it's a reskin. A Frankenstein shooter using Corpse Classic to sell new co-op template. So that's split. On one side, fun, frantic, functional gameplay. On other, a reboot that's abandoned its roots for a modern formula. Now let's answer actual question. Straight from Ages444's worried little heart. Is it a faithful addition to the franchise, or am I diving into hell full of lies and fluffed up words? Here's your answer, lad. It's both. You are diving into hell, but it's been power washed, gentrified, and turned into a bloody theme park. Old grind's gone. Soul's been sold. But if you've never tasted original fire, you might not know what you're missing. Let's break it down clean. If you've never played Painkiller before, this 2025 version might actually slap. It's punchy, it's loud, it gets to carnage without asking for dinner first. Think Left 4 Dead meets Doom Eternal, but without lore dumps or 3-hour cutscenes. You won't care what's missing, you'll be too busy racking up headshots and grinning like a lunatic. And fair play, for a casual chaos hit, it delivers. But if you're an OG fan, expecting a second coming of that 2004 Cathedral of Carnage, forget it. This interfaithful sequel. It's a spin-off wearing your dead mate's jacket. It's built for co-op bros, not Lorna Sadis. Pacing's wrong, tone's gone, and soul, that twisted, eerie gothic pulse, has been ripped out and replaced with neon outlines and modern multiplayer grind. Now, is it worth it? That depends how allergic you are to compromise. You want modern shooter polish, fast queues, and a bit of throwback chaos with your crew? And yeah, grab it on sale. Go mental. But if you're chasing nostalgia, if you want that single player intensity where every shotgun blast feels like a sermon, save your cash. Or better yet, go back and play it original. It's still out there, still brutal, still more Painkiller than this new clone in a trench coat. Final take, this game's not a con, it's not a scam, but it's not second coming either. It's a reboot for a new crowd. one that don't remember what made original a cult classic. If you go in expecting that, you'll come out disappointed. Controller snapped, wallet lighter, and trust issues reactivated. So cheers Ages 444 for question. Absolute banger. And to rest your eye in this game like it owes your rent, make sure you know what you're buying, cause Painkiller 2025 might still be hell, just not kind you were hoping for. Right, so Xbox just shut out the November part of the preview. And for once, it didn't reek or eat of Game Pass fluff. No tea-sipping, suit-wearing, analytics-driven PR drizzle. This one came out swinging with a rusty chainsaw in one hand and your spine in other. Let's not pretend it were balanced. This were a horror showcase, pure horror. There were some other games, but if you love screams, rot, and your blood pressure hitting boss fight levels, this were your night. First up, Armitus, third-person roguelite horror dropped in Gothic Paris. And I mean post-plague, pre-doomsday Paris. You're masked up like a plague doctor's bastard child, everything's soaked in sudden regret, and combat's got that twitchy blood elegance. It's like if Bloodborne and Dead Cells had a back-alley child and raised it in black mould and grief. The Centre Souls-like clone, it's got teeth, and it bites first. Next, Mound, Omen of Cthulhu, 4-player co-op Lovecraftian jungle nightmare. You and your mates wander into ancient ruins, and Summer hungry watches you from fog. And yeah, co-op horror always sounds good until screams start and Steve's dead in a bush while you're trying to reload. If Phasma and Predator had a fever dream, this is it. Tentacles, cults, paranoia, perfect. Then total chaos crashes through the wall. No warning, no build-up, just it's game, it's on Game Pass, get in. First-person survival horror grunge turned up to 11. And monster designs that look like someone shoved Silent Hill through an angle grinder. This ain't spooky, this is you will scream horror. Download it, lose sleep, write me angry emails later. And then comes Reanimal. You want weird, you want artsy horror that punches you in the soul? This is it. Made by sick bastards behind Little Nightmares. It looks like Tim Burton made co-op Fever Dream and forced David Lynch to narrate. It's cute for half a second, then it peels your grin off and feeds it to something with too many eyes. Demos out now. Full release February. Play it, regret it. Honourables? Crow Swan. Metroidvania with claws sharp enough to make Hollow Knight cry in bath. Stylish, fast, violent. Keep your eyes on it. Zoopunk. Yeah, it's furry. Yeah, it's chaos. But you know what? Might just pop off if devs stop sniffing vibes and start aiming for mayhem. So its verdict. Xbox showed up. Not with suits, not with stats, with horror. Real horror. Blood-soaked, twitch-scarred, screaming your sofa horror. No filler, no influencers with guns and t-shirts. Just games. Dark, nasty, beautiful games. To keep this up, Xbox might just remember what it means to feel again. Now then, look who's clawed the way back from pit. PLAYERUNKNOWN. Yeah, bloke who birthed Battle Royale, then vanished like a fart in the sandstorm. He's returned with Prologue, Go Way Back, now lurking on Steam Early Access for 20 quid. What is it? A run-based survival game with machine-learned terrain, no quests, no NPCs, no story, and not a single soul telling you what the hell to do. So basically every indie survival game ever, only this one's got trailer moody enough to win Sundance. On paper, sure, sounds ambitious. 64 square kilometres of AI-generated terrain, no hand-holding, no objectives, no multiplayer distractions, just you, woods, and your last breadcrumb of dopamine. It's pitched as pure survival, a meditation on solitude and danger. Or, as I call it, hiking sim with hypothermia. Tech is solid. Terrain's built with a proprietary machine learning engine trained on real-world data. And it's gorgeous. Legit stunning. More photogenic than your ex on holiday. Sunrises that'll make grown men cry. Weather that'll beat your morale into pulp. No wood blow. No XP inflation. If you want a game that looks like a Windows wallpaper while kicking your teeth in, this is it. But here's the thing. It's empty, soul-crushingly empty. No story, no hook, just walking, freezing, starving, maybe spotting a shack before dying. It's survival porn with no climax, like DayZ without zombies, PvP, or tension. Yeah, there's a map editor. Yeah, you can import your own JPEG and let game turn it into a playground. There are survival and free roam modes. And sure, it's technically impressive. But gameplay-wise, it's like being handed a shovel and told to dig for fun somewhere in Wales. And don't get confused by price tag, it's early access. You're paying to test their tech. This intergame's a playable mood board for Project Artemis, the mythical MMO sandbox to keep whispering about. Go Way Back is just first pebble in that pond. If you get off on walking sims with death mechanics, crack on. But this ain't PUBG 2. It ain't Minecraft. It's a freezing forest that looks better than 90% AAA games and plays like a minimalist art exhibition with a suicide button. I respect ambition, I respect tech, but until they give me something to actually do, this is just a stunning empty map where fungus to die. Try it if you want, just don't say I didn't warn you. You wanted PLAYERUNKNOWN back? Careful what you bloody wish for. Right then, massive shout out to Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195. Our mate came in with a top tier question. What's word with newest Twonk? Mate, strap in, cause this week we've not just found a Twonk, we've found Twonk King. A bloke so allergic to context he watched thumbnail, skipped video, and still managed to launch himself face first into sarcasm woodchipper. Let's set scene. I dropped a video titled, brace yourself, Black Ops 7 is too hard for casual gamers. Grind, headshots, zombies exposed. Right? Obvious piss tech, parody from Frame 1. It were a full body mockery at people crying about difficulty in Battlefield 6. Same sweaty man babies who couldn't handle a single headshot challenge and begged for nerfs like it were a war crime. So I flipped it, pretended Call of Duty were now too hard for casuals, and demanded game be nerfed into soft serve pudding. Headshots? Offensive. Zombies? Cancelled. Unlocks? Gimme now or I cry on TikTok. And in slithers just me a Yerk, proud owner of 9 subscribers and 0 irony sensors, who dropped this masterpiece in comments. Game too hard? Why? 'Cause they nerfed AA a tiny little bit. Skill issue. Now first off, what AA? Video doesn't even mention aim assist. Not once. Not even sideways. This genius thinks he's artier serving fire like Gordon Ramsay with brain bleed. He didn't just miss point, he launched it into orbit and shot at smoke trail. So I replied, you nailed tell me you didn't watch video thing in one sentence, kiddo. Thanks for engaging at least, but you do look like a twonk when you comment like this. Which, let's be honest, was civilised. But he wasn't done. Oh no. You literally started bitching about AA, so skill issue, dumbass. My guy, you just doubled down on an hallucination. It's not even a straw man, it's a ghost. You hallucinated a talking point that doesn't exist, picked a fake with it, lost, and called me a dumbass while still standing in wreckage of your own comment section. So I hit him again. In what world does this video mention AA? You have obviously never heard sarcasm before, kiddo. Again, you make yourself look even more like a twonk. It's very entertaining, really. Zero self-awareness. And thanks for further engagement. YouTube must really love you. And then silence. Not a peep. Vanished. Deleted note. Owned note. Just ghosted like a bad Tinder date who forgot the match with someone literate. So, just me a yerk. Congratulations. You are this week's Twonk of the Week. You win a free trip to Comments Graveyard, where every reply echoes back with your own confusion. You saw a parody, thought it were a manifesto, and ran in swinging with your keyboard like a wet noodle. Then when sarcasm slapped you back, you disappeared faster than skill in a kill streak lobby. Look, I get it. Internet's hard, videos are long, thinking's painful, but if you're gonna accuse someone of bitching about AA, maybe double check they actually said it first. Otherwise you end up like this, publicly roasted, permanently pinned, and memorialised here, where thousands of my beautiful sarcastic bastards can laugh at you in peace. Rest in peace, my twonk. You earned this. Time for weekly digital dumpster dive. What are free games this week? Another worth out beyond half-hour to download before you uninstall them for drive space. Amazon Prime's handing out 3 this week. Let's break it down. First up, Dream Tactics. Turn-based strategy, card combat, pixel art cuteness. It's what happens when Final Fantasy Tactics and Slate Spire have a PG sleepover. You pick a squad, build your decks, and fake nightmares. Solid idea, nice art, but let's be honest, it's niche. If you've got brain space for deck synergy and don't instantly fall asleep when a game says turn-based, this might actually slap. If not, I'd pass. One for spreadsheet warriors. Next, Dungeons & Dragons Kryn series. This one's for Fossil Crowd. 3 ancient RPGs from DOS Age. Champions of Kryn, Death Knights of Kryn, and Dark Queen of Kryn. We're talking pre-voice acting, pre-tutorials, pre-fun, if we're being cruel. But if you're a Dragonlance lore junkie or a retro masochist, go nuts. Just don't pretend it's approachable. This inter-nostalgia trip is a pilgrimage through code older than most streamers' careers. Then play it up. Now we're cooking. Literally. This is overcooked with roguelike structure and restaurant management chaos. It's a co-op meltdown simulator. And if you've got mates, it's a riot. Solo, bit of a grind. But hey, it's polished, it's chaotic, and it actually runs. That puts it above half at Steam Store already. Epic Games, meanwhile, coughs up 2 freebies this week. First, Godzilla Voxel Wars. Turn-based monster strategy on an 8x8 grid, starring Godzilla and friends. It's like Inter Breach on radioactive steroids. You plan moves, drop destruction, play chess with kaiju. Honestly, not bad. If you like your tactic games with blocky art and atomic breath, this one's worth a spin. Finally, Zoity, card battler meets poker mechanics, wrapped in an anime cloak. It's a roguelike, it's got combos, it's got randomization, and it's fine. Not groundbreaking, not broken, just another, maybe later game in backlog that you'll never open unless Steam guilt pops it at Christmas. So, verdict? Dream Tactics, good for tactic nerds, skippable for ADHD casuals. Crin Trilogy, ancient as sin, strictly for retroheads. Played up, actual fun with mates, worth bandwidth. Godzilla Voxel Wars, sleeper hit potential, small board, big monsters. Zoity, mid. Install it and forget it. They're free, but free don't mean good. Be choosy, your SSD deserves better than digital clutter and indie experiments in maybe fun. Now then, Great Ormond Street Hospital. Yeah, that one. Proper one. Place where real work gets done by real people saving real kids, not some influencer rehab clinic for streamers who cried too hard when Elden Ring crashed. They've only gone and posted a job for a gamer in residence. That's not a typo. A full-time, paid, permanent role for someone to walk into Children's Hospital and use video games to make nightmares suck slightly less. That's right, gaming. In a hospital to help sick kids. Oh God, weep. Now, before you start driving from all wholesome vibes, hold that bile, because this ain't just some puppies. This is first sign that maybe, just maybe, someone in NHS finally understands that 2025's teenagers don't give a toss about felt tip pens and a tramadol. You want to reach them? You bring Fortnite, you bring Minecraft, you bring something with graphics newer than 2009 and controls that don't feel like licking a toaster. Gosh says it straight. Gaming helps reduce stress, manage pain, connect with outside world. And yeah, shock horror, there's actual research backing it. Not that Daily Mail Facebook mum science. Real studies showing gaming can help rewire pain response, manage anxiety, and actually give kids a shred of control when everything else has been ripped from them. I'm not being sarcastic when I say, it's brilliant, it's overdue, it's actually kinda beautiful. For once gaming ain't being blamed for a stabbing, a meltdown, or your nan's broadband bill. It's being respected as therapy, which means someone in that boardroom had balls to say, you know what, kids game, let's stop pretending they're done, let's use it. But here's where I draw a line in plasterboard. This gig comes with power, emotional access, influence, and if we don't talk about what happens behind promise, we're not helping anyone. So yeah, gosh, great idea, brave step, gold star, but don't expect us to clap without checking wiring behind controller. So it's time to rip off wrapping paper and see what's crawling underneath. Cause hiring a gamer in residence ain't just a cuddly headline. It's a live grenade wrapped in PR tinsel. And if you think you can just drop a switch into a paediatric ward and call it progress, congratulations, you're qualified to run Ubisoft. Let's start with first big landmine, safeguarding. Job listing, buried deep in NHS jobs, makes it clear. This post gets full enhanced criminal checks. That's disclosure and barring service for those lucky enough to have never worked near kids. That's right move, but it's bare minimum. Cause this ain't a janitor job. This person will be sitting with vulnerable, scared, isolated children, often teens, building rapport through gaming. That's emotional intimacy. That's influence. That's serious leverage. And add, don't tell us how it's being managed. No mention of session monitoring. No mention who vets games. No mention of parent consent on online content. What's to stop gamer from handing over usernames, open chat channels, or just being a little too involved? Not accusing anyone, but if betting ain't tighter than a boss fight hitbox, someone's gonna get hurt, and it won't be HR department. Next, content and curation. They want broad knowledge of games and platforms. Great, so what are we talking here? Switch, PS5, Steam Deck, mobile? Can they run Skyrim? Can they run Postal 2? Where's line? Cause I've seen what happens when clueless managers think age appropriate means Candy Crush and no else. These kids aren't dumb. They've seen worse on TikTok before breakfast. But that don't mean you hand them Dark Souls and tell them to heal through suffering. You need balance. You need intent. You need rules. And finally, Hype Train. You start telling donors that gaming reduces pain perception, helps manage anxiety, connects kids to family. You better have a plan to follow through. Because if all you're doing is wheeling in a trolley with a dusty PS3 and letting kids fade off a controller drift, you've failed. So no, I'm not slagging idea. I'm gutting execution. This is gaming inside one of UK's most iconic hospitals. That means bar should be higher, not lower. Treat this like a serious medical intervention, because it bloody well is. And if you don't, backlash will make Twitter dogpile look like a hug. Now here's part where I should mirror under your nose, dear listener. Because this ain't just about some hospital job ad. This is a warning shot across all bloody gaming community. If Gosh can pull this off, everyone is gonna copy it. Care homes, clinics, schools, even bloody YouTube charities. Gaming therapy will become new buzzwords slapped on everything from loot boxes to late-stage capitalism. So let me spell it out. If you're a developer, designer, streamer, modder, parent, or just some goblin who spent 4,000 hours in Stardew Valley, you need to watch this roll. Why? Because what happens in this pilot sets precedent. If they do it right, we've just carved a new path for games as care tools. If they do it wrong, we're one TikTok clip away from hospitals let kids play violent games, outrageous parents demand answers. You know it's coming. Let's start with transparency. Gosh needs to open books. Not private data, but process. What games are they using? What age ranges? How are sessions run? Are their outcomes tracked? If this becomes another backroom PR project, smiles for camera, note behind curtain, it'll fail. We don't need fluff, we need framework. Second, partnerships. Ad says Gamer will work with charities and external groups. Great. Name them. Who hell are they? Is this just someone's mate with Twitch channel? Or are we talking real therapeutic game designers? Actual neurodiversity advocates? If it's just Dave from IT used to play Rocket League, so now he's our trauma liaison, get him bin. This game needs specialists, not gamers who think diamond rank means they understand kids with leukemia. And third, community response. Wider gaming industry should get involved, but don't let them hijack it. We need studios making accessible, safe, low-trigger titles for these settings. Not shoveling hospital mode DLCs with price tags and pity points. This needs ethics, not microtransactions in a chemo ward. So yeah, I still back idea. I think it could change lives. But if this is going to work, it needs to be guarded like a speedrunner's save file. No fluff, no fakery, and absolutely no tolerance for shortcuts. Because if we get this right, games become medicine. If we screw it up, games get blamed again. Your move, Gosh. Don't cock it up. Right, listen up. We're sitting on 1,963 of you magnificent bastards, and it's clear as hell. You love shorts. You watch them, you share them, and judging by comments, you probably scream at them in car. So here's the deal. Shorts are staying, but with a new twist. No more Brecken and Martyr long-form gaming Hellwire videos day after like leftovers in the Tupperware. We've cracked a schedule where I can record shorts as news breaks. Hot, filthy, same-day coverage. No more day-late nonsense. You get news while it's still smoking. But members, shout out to you legends, James Lima, Asian Persuasion, Abapical, Firkinell, Scott Seether, and Mayhem. You lot get early access to every single short 1 hour before public does. No ad waiting, no YouTube delay, boom, straight into your feed. Gaming Hellwire is still rolling on for those who love long-form chaos, but don't panic, it won't be recycled shorts. These will be full-fat unreleased stories, deeper dives, new rants, fresh aneurysm. Members, you'll get early access to that too. And yeah, Hey Scotty Podcast continues every Sunday, same schedule, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. If it plays audio, I'm on it, yelling about patch notes and broken battle passes. That's all time I've got for this week. Thanks to Ages444 and Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 for their questions. Absolute units, both of you. Keep them coming. And you, yeah, you. Don't just sit there lurking. I know you've got some weird questions rattling around that skull of yours. Don't matter how mad it sounds. Drop it in comments. I'll throw it in next week's show. Or watch out for post midweek on YouTube. Oh yeah, Twitter. It's not X. It'll never be X. Shut up. It's bloody Twitter. Sue me. Cheers for your time. I'll see you next time.